In the cupboard that is directly above your sink, that's where the items are for this kitchen, and that's true of all the kitchens. Directly above the sink is part of your kitchen. And in this cupboard is all the small appliances. There are stickers on the backs of each of the cupboard doors that tell you what should be on each shelf. Make sure that you put things back on the shelves where they belong. Each kitchen has a KitchenAid mixer, and that will be your first choice for mixing each time you have a recipe because it's the fastest and easiest tool to use. It comes with several attachments. This is the whip attachment, this is the hook attachment, and this is the paddle attachment. The paddle is used for batters and some thicker doughs. The dough hook is reserved for the thickest doughs, and the wire whip is used for only smooth batters and egg whites and whipped cream where you want to incorporate a lot of air. This is the splash guard, and it helps keep things inside the bowl. On the front of the KitchenAid mixer, we have several attachments that we will be using in lab. There is a pasta roller. Additional attachments include meat grinders, ice cream makers. Make sure that you lock the head in place and run it on a speed that does not slow the motor down. By your sink, you have some paper towels. When you wash your hands, this is for drying your hands. Don't use the linens. That's for doing dishes. The paper is for hands so that it can be thrown away. The soap is used for both hands and dishes. When it gets low, ask the people in the dispensary to fill that up for you. This is called the Sharps basket, and this is where you will put the scrubbing brush, the sink stoppers, and the wire scrubber, but you'll also use this to put knives and blades from your food processor while washing so that they aren't in the wash water as a hazard. When you check out at the end, this has to be clean and dry top and bottom. The only way to really get these items dry and clean at the end is to rinse them well and then pound them on the sink until you get all of the food matter out, and that works for both of these. Pound them really hard. They should be dry when you put them back in the dry Sharps basket. At the end, you need to wipe everything down, taps inside the sink, everything needs to be dry. Dishwashing procedure is done by putting your dish drainer on the side of the sink closest to the center of the room. The reason you don't want it on this side of the sink is it would get in the way of all of your food preparation and mixing. So it should go toward the side of the sink that's toward the center of the room. You'll fill this sink with hot soapy water. This sink is reserved for rinsing, and then you'll put it directly in the drainer. So if I have a dirty dish, first I'd rinse it, then I'd do the hot soapy water, then I'd rinse the soap off and then drain it in the dish drainer. There's one additional step that you need to do if you're ever cooking with meat, and that is after you've rinsed it, washed it in soapy water, you're going to spray it with this sanitizing bleach solution, then rinse it again, and then put it in the strainer. This is stored underneath your sink. Also underneath your sink is a manual for the use and care of all of the equipment. There's a glass cleaner for your stove top since we have smooth cooktops. Make sure when you put that drainer away that you've dried it top and bottom and put it away. Let's talk about some of these other cupboards that you have in your kitchen. This cupboard has all of your measuring equipment, mixing bowls, and serving plates and dishes. They need to be dry when they're put away at the end of each section, and once again there are labels that tell which shelf each thing is on. On the back of one of the cupboard doors is your checking out cleaning list. You need to go all the way through this every single time we cook to make sure that our facility stays nice. In this cupboard over here, this is where all of your baking pans, like cake pans and bread pans are, and then underneath here are bigger baking pans. You've got cake pans, you've got trays, you've got cutting boards. You have a white cutting board, a green cutting board, and a red cutting board. The white cutting board is multi-purpose, the green cutting board is for produce, and the red cutting board is for meat. Remember, when you use the red cutting board with meat, you need to sanitize it. These drawers, this one has serving utensils, and this one has serving utensils, this one has cooking utensils. Familiarize yourself with what is in here and put them back where the labels indicate they should go. Underneath here is where all of your pots and pans and fry pans are. Make sure that you store them with their lids on. If at any point there's something missing from your kitchen, you need to let the TA or the instructor know immediately. On your countertops, there are 2 crocks that have equipment in them, and you need to just make sure and put everything back in those crocks. This is the Betty Crocker cookbook that you will be using for your lab readings. You need to do your lab readings within the 2-hour time frame that we have for cooking in lab. This area right here is what we call staples, and those are things that are stored in your kitchen at all times. We have flour, sugar, salt, oil, non-stick vegetable spray, baking soda, baking powder, powdered sugar, and concentrated vanilla. The vanilla that we have, 5 drops equal 1 teaspoon, so you need to be aware of that and follow that in all of your recipes. The only flour that's in your bin is all-purpose flour. Anytime there's a specialty flour, it will be kept back by the pillar in bins back there.